welcome, Dan. I know we've been trying a little while to get this going, and both of us have, for the first time, installed Zoom on our devices, and here we go. So, yeah, a shot for joining us. It's Psy Kick Tuesdays' 1-year birthday, and you were the first guest on Psy Kick Tuesdays last year, December the 7th, if I remember correctly. So it's quite lekker that we're doing this now.
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I think just from my side, a quick introduction. A lot of this, the listeners probably know, but let me just run through some stuff. It's quite interesting. You're like 6 people in one, man.
That's hard work.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, from my perspective, I see you're a family man. You got a full-time day job. You're an event organizer, and on top of that, you're 3 DJs in one.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So for the listeners' perspective, I mean, we've got you as Dan Scott on Synoptic Records, we've got Nexon on Soul Music, and Defuse as your techno alias. There's no other hidden oaks in the corners, is there?
Not yet, none that I know of. Who knows what the future holds?
There's not going to be a hip-hop star popping up anytime soon, is there?
Never.
I should hope not. Otherwise, this conversation is over.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, no. So I've got like, I don't know, a whole bunch of questions here that I'm going to run through, and, you can tell me if you don't want to answer them, it's all good. If you're happy to answer them, then we just go ahead. The ones you don't want to answer, I'll just take out of the conversation. Or I'll leave them in. Maybe it'll be fun to leave them in.
Yeah, no, I'll leave them in.
Cool. So let's jump in. Clearly, you're very passionate about music in general, from what I can see, and from the conversations that we've had. And it doesn't really sit only with techno or psytrance. I mean, it's a very wide range. Can you tell me more or less what kind of music got you sort of paying attention? So what I mean by is, were you one day sitting around and heard a particular type of music somewhere, somehow, that said to you, oh, music's my thing?
Look, put it this way, it's probably going back a good couple of years. I'll probably give away my age now, but yeah, I would say at least about 20 odd years ago. The club scene in Cape Town was very big, and the hard house scene was very big. So yeah, from there really, it was very much the hard house scene. Mauro Picotto was a very big inspiration to me, still is. A lot of the sounds and elements, so if I had to say, it would definitely be the hard house side that inspired me from back in the day. Got me into, obviously, my Diffuse act. Techno was, well, I wouldn't say still is, but techno would be my first. It was my first love, and then the rest all just fell into place after that.
And what sort of made you? I mean, you're obviously clubbing, as you said now, but what flipped the switch between clubber and saying, okay, I need to start mixing now? I mean, what fired that up?
A mate of mine, he stayed in town and he had an apartment on the top floor, and we used to go there on weekends and party as we do, a couple of drinks and braais and whatnot. And he had a mate that came to visit from Port Elizabeth, and he had a set of turntables, SL 1200s, and we're like, oh, what is this? And then we're like, okay, so this is what we've seen in the clubs and this and that, and then we just started dabbling around, playing on it, and I'm like, man, that felt great, when you get your first transition, and I'm like, wow, this really feels amazing. And then obviously going to a lot of the raves, the far sides, at 3 Arts Theatre, and then seeing the guys up there playing and seeing what they were doing to the dance floor and having this feeling of control and being able to tell a story. That's when I felt, and I turned around to the group of mates I had at the time, and I said to them, one day this is going to be me. From that day, I just haven't let it go. I've just kept pushing. So it's definitely passion, and it still burns very deep.
Yeah, well, I think we can see that in the way that you portray yourself in the scene. It's not like you're here for part time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, thanks for that. Yeah, I know. That's, to me, being passionate about it, I think, is the most important thing about getting into this business.
Yeah.
If there's no passion, then why do it? And any other reason besides passion is the wrong reason in my eyes. It's it's not for the money. It's not for the spotlight. It should be playing from the soul, from the heart. This is you have a story to tell.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's basically like I said, being
How
in
it
street
got
arts,
started,
having a passion. So that's basically where it all started for me. Yeah.
I think you what's the word I'm looking for? You almost not privileged, but I would say very lucky to have been a part of that scene back in the day, because I was part of that scene, but up the East Coast in East London, a very small scene. I think you're very lucky to be part of the Cape Town scene back in the late 90s, early 2000s, because from what I've been told, it was pretty insane.
Oh no, it was like an era, I could say. It was this massive movement, and it's difficult to explain it and put it onto paper. It's almost like everyone knew without even saying anything on a Friday night. It's it's party time. Everyone knew where the places were to go. Everyone just met there, and obviously, there was no such thing as Facebook back then.
Yeah.
And I think cell phones were just only making it into the scene, I think CDs might have just made it onto CD as well. Everything was still vinyl, so
Yeah,
definitely giving my age away.
it's just a number at the end of the day, anyway, bro.
Absolutely.
From my side, I've seen you playing on CDJs. I've seen you playing with controller. I've seen you playing with, I think it's called Z1 that you use on Tractor. Out of those three mediums, and you've mentioned vinyl now that you obviously got kickstarted off on vinyl. Out of all of that, what is your favorite medium to play with?
To be honest, at the moment, the way I look at it is it's you need to be comfortable. And me, the current setup that I'm playing with at the moment is obviously my X1, where I use my little controller, which controls my software, and then I use the mixer that's provided by the club or the event. At the moment, I would say the way I'm playing now would be my most comfortable, my most preferred. But that being said, playing on vinyl will always be great. I must be honest, I had about 8-9 months of good vinyl, getting experience in and playing on vinyl, and it's great. But today, unless you have software where you can use time-coded vinyls, it can get pretty expensive. Getting access to all the latest. Yeah, no, absolutely. Getting access to the latest tracks on vinyl, it's very difficult, So I think anyone that's still on vinyl would have it at home for their leisure and have their collection and play like their good old golden oldie tracks, if you could call it that,
For sure. So
it's more, I think, for hobby, but CDJs are also great. A lot of guys play on CDJs with USBs. There's no faulting there. It's just, for me, it just comes down to preference and what I'm most comfortable with, and at the moment the X1 is great. The Z1 is also okay. I wouldn't really go and play out with it. The Z1 I use purely for home use.
Okay.
It's a nice piece of equipment. It's great for somebody starting out. Personally, I wouldn't go and play out with it. I'll just keep it for home use.
As far as the crowd goes, you've been around for quite a while, well entrenched in the industry. You've been involved in organizing your own parties. As most currently is Hidden Leaf, along with Suraj. And the scene has gone through flick-flacks, man, over the last 3 years. It almost 100%. Died down to ashes, and it slowly gets sort of building up. There's a lot of new things happening, a lot of new organizers coming around. From your perspective, where do you think it's going? Do you think it's that people are trying to take it back to where it was, or do you think there's at least some forward-thinking new guys on the scene that are trying to look for new things in the future?
At the moment, to be honest, I monitor a lot of parties, and I try and keep my hand on a lot that's happening, and and that's coming and all that. Definitely, there is definitely new blood. Guys are constantly pushing the envelope. They're trying to definitely reinvent new things. I mean, Cape Town has always been a party capital. Whether it be techno, psytrance, progressive, and obviously with the pandemic that happened, it did flatten a lot of it ended a lot of productions. Had a lot of clubs closed. It's all reviving at the moment. The club life is struggling to get back. It's still nowhere near what it was. But the outdoor festivals have definitely taken off. Especially now, I mean, come season with summer. I mean, I'm not mistaken, there's probably an outdoor festival of some genre almost every single weekend.
Yeah. And sometimes there's two on a weekend.
Yeah, that's it. The guys are just doubling up. They're just going full throttle. And it's great because it's good music. But at the same time, there is only so many people in Cape Town that can go out and party every week, and let alone afford it. We're definitely on a good wicket. There's definitely big things coming. I mean, I know there's obviously there's a lot of big festivals coming up in the new year. There's a lot of new artists, a lot of new blood that's getting the airtime now, which is great.
Yeah.
At the same time, a lot of the old boys are still playing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the music's getting better. But from an organizer point of view, I call it waves. Every year to 2 years, there is a different wave of obviously 16-year-olds become 17-year-olds, become 18-year-olds. So every year there's a whole new wave of 18-year-olds. So every year you've got new blood coming on, and from doing the Zodiac events, it's probably one of the best clubs Cape Town ever seen. Reset.
I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, it was such a sad day when that went down.
I think a lot of people feel the same way. Eh?
Yeah, man, the pandemic was terrible. It was hard on a lot of people. And what I realized then, it was there was a lot of new blood coming, like faces I'd never seen before. And you could see they had no idea what this music was, and we were actually educating them, teaching them, and I think this is what's happening now. Each year you have new blood, new parties. So it's definitely evolving, but I can safely say that Psytrance isn't going anywhere soon.
No.
It's been here for well over 20 years, and I think it's going to be here for another 20 years, if not more. But yeah, it's I've got good hopes. I've got good hopes, and I'm positive. I think there's big things coming.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I've seen a couple of new events recently, and the guys that are running it are young. As you were saying, there's these new waves coming through, and some of them are keen to put on events. And I see some nice new ideas coming about, and not just sort of repeating the same thing over and over every year. And I think that's what the scene needs.
Absolutely, you constantly you have to change the formula all the time. You got to keep it's got to keep reinventing itself. At one stage it wasn't, but I think guys were just a bit lazy, and then obviously the pandemic came and it gave everyone a wake up call, and now they're thinking out of the box.
Yeah, because now they're having to, as you said earlier, revive the whole scene. So they can't go and say, okay, we need to revive the scene the way it used to be. We're not in that time anymore. That time is gone. So they're having to think out the box and come up with new ideas.
No, absolutely.
Since the pandemic started, there's been 3 new waves of people coming out of school, right? So there's a lot that has to be done to kickstart the scene to get it anywhere near what it was, let's say 2018, 2019. Maybe I should ask you this. I mean, for a DJ to be successful these days, or any day, I think you need to have some form of support structure, whether it's good friends, family, husband, wife, whatever the case may be. And I mean, on your side of the thing, what I see is you've got a really good support structure with Rocher. She seems to be everywhere where you are. She's right there, your sort of right-hand lady. Has she always been really into this the trance scene, or is it something that she picked up when you guys got together? And obviously, I mean, she's with you, and she loves you, and she supports you. So did it just materialize that way, or was she part of it already?
She was a part of back in the day. She was a part of Premier Shanti at Alien Safari, and she was always the whole healing and holistic approach and everything, and she still does her holistic approach at home with the medicines and stuff. So she was exposed to the music. She always has had a love for that music. I wouldn't say she loves my harder dance Scott psychedelic stuff too much. She's a bit of a progressive girl, but with regards to support, she's been really great. I put a lot of hours in, besides the day job, come in, and then obviously there's the usual making dinners and getting kids done and that for school and whatnot. And then afterwards, you got to put the effort in for the promotion of events, prepping sets, that kind of thing. And then she kind of like carries the slack. If I cannot get to that, then she knows I'm busy and she supports there. She comes to pretty much all my events. He's also my resident cameraman, if you could call it that. She's been really, really great. I'm glad to have her on board.
So, I mean, for the listeners out there that are listening to this interview now, I just want to let you all know that this is literally take two. Because as it happens, technology, well, let's not blame technology. Let's blame the user, who is me. Did not check that record was on for our second call, because we're doing this on Zoom, and Zoom only allows you 40 minutes, and the first half of the conversation was recorded, and we started a new call and everything went lacquer, and we ended the call and I realized that we didn't record the second call. So this is take two for everybody out there. So thanks, Dan, for agreeing to come back on. I know it's Sunday night and you wanted to go and chill on the couch now, but now you have to come and talk to me again. So thanks a lot.
Anytime, man.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. Let's try and see if we can pick up from where we were. We're obviously not going to have the same conversation that we had earlier, but that's cool.
We can. We'll do our best.
We'll just live in the moment, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we were talking about support systems and all of that, and you were mentioning Russel and like how important that is for you. And guys shouldn't be scared to get out there and put themselves out there and be honest with their partners and let them know what they want to go and do, because if they don't do that, obviously it's not going to help their career going forward. So if you have somebody in your life, make sure that they're there to support you. No,
100%. This is going to make it easier, and everyone's on the same page. And they need to understand this is what you do and it's a job. So that they need to be there. They need to be there for you for that and have the patience.
Exactly. Yeah, and as you say, it's a job, and a job is something that's a responsibility at the end of the day. And I think that really brings me to something that I wanted to ask you is about responsibility. Standing up there as a DJ is quite. It's a big responsibility. People have paid money to come see you and many other guys and girls play. Not everybody gets the opportunity to stand up there and play music. How do you feel about? What is your explanation or interpretation of that responsibility? Being able to stand up there and play music for people.
It's like you said, it's a job. People do pay hard-earned money for their tickets to come and see you put on your best performance, and so you got to take it seriously. Like I said, you have to take it seriously. They're paying good money. You got to put on a good performance. You have to I'm not sure if we mentioned this in the first segment, but it's about making contact, and it's about socializing even before and after your set. It's not about just getting up there and treating it as a full-time job and trying to get your money and it's like again, it's passion driven,
Yeah.
and you have your supporters that support you, and and so you got to at least make contact with them, and at the same time, it's a reward, when you finish your set and you walk off, and people are congratulating you and thanking you and giving you high fives and all that. It's definitely rewarding, and it's definitely what makes me come back.
Yeah.
It's and from a supporter point of view, it's great that they can meet the artists that they support. So it's definitely something that it's got to get taken seriously. But at the same time, it's all in the love of music, and passion.
Exactly. And do you think I don't know, if somebody's playing and they're not in of a sober mind, do you think that that's a little bit irresponsible?
Absolutely, because the one thing I've learned, and I wouldn't say, well, look, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I would say I have learned the hard way in the beginning when I was still starting up. One thing you do learn, if someone's intoxicated in alcohol, and you're performing, it might sound great to you, and what you do up there, you think it's sounding great, but in actual fact, people on the dance floor looking up and like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
So it gives you a false sense of what you're reading and what you're doing.
Yeah, your perception's skewed.
And, absolutely, and your supporters haven't paid hard-earned money to come and see you up there intoxicated.
Yeah.
They're paying for you to, so by all means, go up there and get the job done and give your best performance, and then afterwards you can have a few drinks and whatnot. With the supporters afterwards. But there is definitely a level of responsibility and ethic to be held in this situation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you wouldn't. I don't know, if you had a job at a company somewhere, you wouldn't rock up there on a Monday morning and on the way to work you had 4 beers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you walked into Monday morning's board meeting, after having 4 beers and 2 tequilas.
Yeah, exactly. That will be your last board meeting,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I suppose it should be taken as seriously as that, right?
No, absolutely. It's yes, it's a job, and you're there to have fun, but at the same time, you're there to give your best performance, and in my opinion, you can't give your best performance if you're intoxicated.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with having 1 or 2 drinks just to calm the butterflies.
No, for sure.
But you need to draw the line. You need to keep it. You need to keep it clean.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, if you're playing Saturday morning 10 o'clock, you can't have had Friday night's entire party with no sleep, and then 9 o'clock you quickly go and have a shower and think you're going to go play at 10. I mean, that's not how it works, right?
No, not at all. No, that won't end well.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it'd even start well.
Yeah. Yeah. True that, man.
No. I suppose maybe that leads me to something else. Is people are, if somebody's been playing in their bedroom, they call it bedroom DJ, they might be in their garage, who knows, but if they've been a bedroom DJ for a while and they really want to get themselves out there now, do you think there's some things that they should get right before they put themselves out there? And if so, what would they be? It could be one thing, it could be 2 things, I don't know. But from your perspective, at what point should they be at before they are ready to put themselves out there? Whether it's technical ability, or I don't know,
Yeah, I think, look, our worst critics are ourselves. So, for you to be mixing at home and getting mixes out there, I think it can go both ways. Some people think that they're ready and they're not. A lot of guys think they're not ready and they are. So I think never stop the practicing. If it's a passion, that you should be doing it anyway. Waking up in the morning, the first thing you want to do is go and mix, so you can get to know your tracks and you get the feel for it. So it's practice definitely makes perfect. But yeah, like I said, also don't be in a hurry to get out there, because it is a patient game.
Yeah.
And at the same time, just just practice the basics. Make sure your flow is great, and the best way honestly is to get mixes out there, get friends to listen, and try and get some solid feedback. Not like sending it to a friend and because your mate is saying, "Oh, that's great." You need to be honest. Hey, or this or that. So and everyone will know who those guys will be. So that would definitely be a good indication. And eventually you will know that you're getting out there and getting good when you initially first land your first booking or your second or third booking. Then okay, well, this is the right path I'm on.
Here you go. I hope people are paying attention. Cool. So as we mentioned earlier, this is take 2. It's Sunday night. Things are getting on. We can try and look at wrapping things up. I think maybe just a quick way. You gave me a really awesome description of this earlier, and for the life of me, we don't have that anymore. So maybe just quickly, if you can just let us know more or less where your DJ aliases names came from. So Dan Scott is full on. We've got Nexon progressive. We've got Defuse techno. What led you to that naming convention?
Basically, it's a funny story. This I'm terrible at getting names. So Dan Scott is one of my main acts, my longest running act. And my name's Daniel, and my mom's side of the family is all Scots. So yes, I'm half Scottish, if you could call it that.
Yeah.
So half of Daniel is Dan and half of Scottish is Scott. So Dan Scott was born. And then as time went by, Dan Scott was playing a bit of everything. And until I found my home with Psytrance, where it's now stayed. First finding progressive and then moving on to full on. And then with me moving on to full on, there was a bit of a void now because a lot of my fans and supporters were still looking for the progressive that I played. And this was the birth of Nexon. I thought, let me dedicate a special act just to the progressive, which I'm very happy with the success that it's got so far and the support that it's got so far. And the name Nexon, the reason why I say it's a funny story is because I'm a big lover of Nixon watches. And I thought, hang on a minute, Nexon, I just replaced the I with the E, and that's where Nexon comes from. So Nexon's offspring from a watch, in case you didn't know.
Awesome. Well, it means something to you, right? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what helped me, it was, like I said, I'm terrible with names. So my first thought process was to let me think of things that mean to me, that represent something, and then from there I'll derive a name. And it's the same with my techno act. My techno act Diffuse. My techno that I like is it's very big room. It's very underground. It's I wouldn't say very hard. It's a bit fast. When I say fast, Psytron speeds. We're talking 145 for a good nighttime slot, if not more. Then you got techno, which is from 125, 126, right up to 135.
Yeah.
So my kind of speeds, when I say hard, is like 130, 132, 128 BPM. So anyone listening, there's obviously now beats per minute. So I like to refer to my techno as I'm dropping bombs. It's big techno bombs. And when I was thinking about it, I'm like, fuse of a bomb, defusing a bomb, defuse. My techno act is basically me defusing big techno bombs on the dance floor.
You're dropping bombs, bro.
Yeah.
Scotty's dropping bombs. And don't even think about defusing those bombs.
Yeah, funny story how where the mind takes us and the imagination levels.
Yeah, I think it's important though. When you come up with a name, it needs to A, be unique, B, it's got to be something that is relevant to you as a person, and not just for the sake of a name. Okay. So yeah, I don't know if maybe if you want to let anybody know where they can catch you in the next month or so, what events you might be playing at.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that. So the 16th of December, my techno act Diffuse will be at Lit's House Day Festival. That's in Mossel Bay. That's Friday is a public holiday, so it's happening on the Friday. It's a one-day event, and it's happening at the Reed Valley Estate, which is a really, really beautiful venue. They're very well known for doing concerts and family day gatherings there. It's green grass. It's really, really beautiful. So yeah, that's on the 16th of December. Just search Let's House Day Festival on Facebook, and it's run by Echo Gatherings and Mixlab. They joining forces to bring you that day party.
And where are tickets? Are they Quicket or Howlo or where?
They actually have their own ticketing system on a website, which is the link is on the Facebook on the Facebook event. It's on the Reed Valley website. They do their own ticketing, and I think you've got until the 14th of December, and the tickets are basically $150, which is really, really cheap. And I'm sharing the lineup, sharing the stage with Killer Pascal and Mogi and Shetty. So there's some really good
nice
names
on there.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be really, really good. And Mixlab and Echo are also really, really good production. So I haven't got a doubt in my mind that's going to be really great. So I think the boys from We Techno are also doing the sound there.
Yeah, that's proper.
So it should be very, very good. And then New Year's, I've got Euphoric Universe, my Nexon act. That is also on Facebook. It's run by Happy Ventures. And they have got Amiki, Jolax, Metronome. I can't for the life of me think who the fourth one is, but they've got about 4 internationals coming, and they've got a massive supporting lineup. And that's for New Year's. And I think they also have their own ticketing system. But the link is also on the Facebook event.
Thanks.
So Happy Ventures, Euphoric Universe, yeah.
And is there anything happening with Hidden Leaf over the festive season?
So yeah, that's happening on the 25th, which is Christmas. The event is on Facebook. It's Hidden Leaf Christmas edition. It's going to be our first Christmas edition, and yeah, you got the likes of. We're busy releasing the lineup as we go, but I know we've got my main man Gryphon-X. He'll be performing. We've got Tech Rider. We've got Celestial, and yeah, we're going to be releasing the rest of the lineup in this week coming. Tickets are available on Quicket, and that is going to be taking place at the Castle nightclub.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's we did one event there before, and it was really, really great. So yeah, we're looking very forward to this one. And yeah, tickets. You can get the ticket link is on the event page as well. And yeah, just search Hidden Leaf Christmas edition.
Fantastic. And then I suppose Linktree is probably the best place for people to go to get your socials. If I get it wrong, let me know, but I think it's linktr.ee/Dan Scott, correct?
That's right. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
That's yeah, that's the best place to go. And then yeah, I mean, there's obviously other link trees for the other acts, but I think we'll just focus on the Dan Scott one for now.
Yeah, and I think they can pretty much get to the others via those at the end of the day anyway, right?
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah.
Cool, Dan. Well, thanks, my Bruce. And yeah, shot for doing take 255.
Anytime, man. Anytime. It's been thanks for having me. It's been good fun.
Yeah, I think we've at least learned to take note of recording features and making sure that they are working. So thanks for the lesson. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll catch you soon, Dan.
Thanks, Russell. Keep well, my man.
Thanks, buddy. Take it easy, eh?
You too, pal.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.